Hello and welcome to Ceo's Projects. Today, I didn't really have anything planned for this week, so I decided to do some shrinkage calibration on these 3D printers just to see how much they either shrink or expand while they print. So I found out that these all actually expanded, but thankfully not by a huge amount. And the reason also why I think that happened is because I had 3 walls to this thing, just so the amount of walls matched the amount of full layers on this thing before they did infill. These are all printed at 50% infill. We have a 30mm cube, a 20mm cube, a 10mm cube, and then a 5mm cube. Oddly enough, the 5mm cube had the most expansion, and the 30mm cube had the least expansion. But oddly enough, it was a trend downwards, which I'm gonna go grab my notes on that. So what I did to measure them was I took these calipers, which I fixed up. I went and I measured one of the dimensions on here, and since they're a cube, and they should have about the same shrinkage, I just took it, measured it, and then wrote it down. This right now is about 30.16 millimeters. I took that down, did some math, and we found that for the 5mm cube, it actually expanded by 5%. For the 10mm cube, it expanded by only 0.9%. For the 20mm cube, it expanded by 0.65%. And then for the 30mm cube, it expanded by only 0.5%. So there's a direct decreasing trend there, which it's interesting to see, but I also could attribute it just to the, well, when it comes out of the FDM printer, it's obviously going to expand a little bit. And there is going to be some shrinkage, but I mean, I'd have to dial in the the expansion to see the shrinkage, if you understand what I'm saying. So with this data, having it be only hundredths of a millimeter off doesn't really make a difference, thankfully for my case, and if necessary, well, now I know based on the size of the thing what I should do. Now thankfully the ambient temperature in here has stayed the same. It's about 25-ish degrees Celsius in here, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I just know that it's, well, that temperature. So yeah, this was just a fun thing to do. I was going to work on a battery, which actually I'll go grab that right now. So I was going to work on this PowerPack 400 Bosch e-bike battery that I had gotten recently. The only problem was though, I was able to charge it because all you need to do is just 42 volts power supply, and then you wire in a buck converter, well, in parallel, but they have a common ground, and that will allow you to charge these. The only problem is though, using them just as a battery without modding them doesn't actually work. I tried so hard, even continuously keeping this feeding itself, it just wouldn't work, even when I plugged it into my controller. So I sort of had to scrap that idea. And yeah, what's probably going to end up happening is once I graduate, because UL listed batteries are going to be banned, which is so just not smart, I'm probably just going to bypass remove the BMS and just solder on my own Dali BMS that I have, because it's a smart BMS, so I can connect to it. And also it's a 10S BMS, which I could just discharge from, which would be perfect for this. I know for a fact that the cells in here, each of them are rated for 9 amps of discharge continuous, so that's about 36 amps, and all I'd have to do is just drop that down to at most maybe 25 max, which 36 volts, 25 amps, it's not horrible. It's not the greatest, but it's not horrible. So yeah, and I already have the charger for it, so I wouldn't have to buy anything. I just have to rip this thing apart and solder it on there. But as of now, there's no reason, and since I have not modded this tape on here is just because people on the internet have said that the waterproofing on here are pretty good, but it's better just to put some tape around it, so I just put some tape around it just for safety. But since this is UL listed, I am allowed to have this and use it, and yeah, so this was going to be the original video for today, but it, after a lot of testing, did not end up working, so yeah. And we also, thankfully, in our makerspace, we got new materials, so I'm going to be able to do more projects with that type of stuff, which I'll do some laser engraving stuff, and yeah, but sorry that this was such a quick video. I just didn't really have anything planned this week, and the other thing I was going to fix, which were these calipers, just ended up, I just replaced the battery and cleaned it up a little bit, and that was it. So yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? There's one little thing. if you go and you look here, which I'm gonna have to switch this to manual focus or to autofocus. So right there, as you can see in there, or you know what, I'm just gonna put a photo of it. So what you can actually see in there is, well, 4 like little tabs. Now, apparently this is from like Harbor Freight and it was only 12 bucks. People apparently have been able to get serial data off of this, which is really cool, because then one thing that I was thinking about doing for my senior project for creating a optics testing rig is utilizing these serial outputs, connecting it to an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi, and using this as sort of a poor man's linear encoder, because you'll be able to see exactly how far something moves, and since we're to the 100th of a millimeter, it'll be fairly useful, because I can do the big scale lenses instead of the small scale lenses, and then I could just do a bunch of math to see the geometrical relationship. So yeah, I don't know, this week was a very interesting week. A lot of stuff happened, I mean the election and everything else, but yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry it's a quick video, and happy birthday, Yago. You'll see this later today. Oh, actually, one last thing. I've noticed that YouTube likes my videos being posted on Mondays instead of Sundays, so I'm going to actually start posting them on Monday, because also it'll give me both Saturday and Sunday to film, which I feel like will be a lot better just for the videos themselves and just for the editing. So there's going to be a slight change to that.